On the screen, I have this object that represents a single car. And for the current state of the project, it works. But what if hypothetically, I had to write a program for a car dealership? They have 500 cars for sale. Writing out 500 cars is not really efficient. That is where constructors come into play. Using this car1 object as a blueprint, I'm going to create a constructor. I start by writing out function. Then I'm going to write car with a capital C. Then I'm going to take the properties from this car1 object and use them as parameters. Make, model, year, and color. Now I'm going to write this make and assign it a value of make and pause. So what is this .make referring to? And more importantly, what is this? This represents the object that is created when the constructor is called. And when this object is created, it's going to have a property of make. And whatever value that is passed through as an argument is going to be the value of this object's make property. Now I'm going to continue writing out this.model equals model, this.year equals year, and this.color equal color. Now this constructor is ready to go. I'm going to use it to make another car object. For car2 equals new car, and I want to pass in 4 arguments. Ford for the make, Mustang E for the model, year 2020, and the color midnight blue. Now, if you haven't noticed already, there's this new keyword, and that is used before calling the constructor. Here's what is happening. New creates an empty object and assigns it to this. Their car constructor function executes and modifies this to add each property to the empty object. Then it returns this, which is now the new object with the properties. Now I'm going to pass car2 into a console log to see what this new object looks like. I will open up my terminal, type node app.js, and here is car2. And it is an object that references the constructor. And every object made with this car constructor will have the same reference. And each of these objects that you make with a constructor are referred to as instance objects. Now with object literals, if you wish to attach a function to that object, you write it as a property value. With constructors, you create prototypes. I'm going to create a prototype and discuss the differences. To start writing a prototype, you start with the name of the constructor, car. And then you add a .prototype method to the constructor's name. Once that is done, you use the dot notation again to assign the name to the prototype method. Here, I will write print info. Now I'm going to set this equal to a function, and this function is going to console log the constructor object properties. Using template literals, I'm going to pass through this make, this model, this year, and this color. Here is that this word again, and that is a reference to whatever object is being used to call this prototype method. Now I'm going to call this method car2.printinfo, and I'm going to open up my terminal, type node.app.js, and here are the object properties in the console. So I know this works. So why would I use prototype versus going up to the constructor and adding the print info function directly as a object method property? Well, to explain, I'm going to clean this up, and then I'm going to console log car2 again for the explanation. All right, I'm back at my terminal. I'm going to type node app.js. That's interesting. The prototype is not part of the object. So where is it? Well, it's actually directly part of the constructor. If I were to make the print info function a constructor property, it would appear in the console as part of the car2 object. and any other objects made by the car constructor. Why would this be such a negative? Well, each object would have an additional property that would be the same function. This creates additional overhead and memory usage. Constructors offer inheritance. Every prototype method that a constructor has, the objects created from that constructor will have access to. This means the function only has to be written once and does not have to be directly attached to each object. So the advantages to constructors are less code is needed when making multiple objects and less overhead through the use of inheritance. Thanks for watching and happy coding.